Hey, what's up, everyone? Back for week number 2. This video, we're going to look at NFL Draftkings Sunday slate. We got 13 games this week, so let's get right into it. Before we get started, I'd appreciate if you would drop a like on the video and subscribe as well, so you don't miss any videos that I post. We'll probably have another video out later this week, and then we'll probably have a FanDuel video or some other slates video like I did last week. So keep an eye out for those, but let's get into this one. Also, if you got a week pass for week 1, you will also have access for this week just because week 1 wasn't very good. Well, making sure this week is a really good week for us. Let's get right into it. So starting off at quarterback, we have Patrick Mahomes as your most expensive quarterback. That's not a shock. He's probably going to be that way every single week. He's at 7,500 facing the Raiders here in Oakland. He got a sprained ankle, but he played through it, so it's not a big deal. He has as much upside as anyone. Just a matter of if you want to pay up at quarterback or pay down. Usually I tend to pay down a little bit at quarterback, but I don't see a problem with paying up for Mahomes. If I'm paying down here below 6,000, I think guys like Garoppolo are a good play. I like Goff. And then I love Josh Allen here, and I think Stafford's a good GPP play. I'm going with Josh Allen here facing the Giants. The Giants defense just gave up over 400 yards passing and 4 touchdowns to Dak Prescott. Their defense is not good. As a team, they're not good except for Barkley. It's going to be another long year for the Giants. And Josh Allen has a really good matchup here, only 5,300 last week. Against the Jets, he started off very slow, and then he had a nice second half. But even though he had four turnovers, he still put up a solid 20 DraftKings points just because he had a rushing touchdown as he loves to run. 10 rushing attempts, threw the ball 37 times. The Giants are really bad at preventing long plays. Last year, they gave up 61 plays of 20-plus yards through the air, and that was the most in the league, second most in the league last season. And in week 1 against the Cowboys, they gave up 7 20-plus yard plays through the air. Josh Allen has a cannon for an arm. He loves to throw the ball deep. So I think going with Josh Allen at quarterback, given the dual upside that he has, you can pair him with the very speedy John Brown and take advantage of that of the Giants' weakness at defending long passes. At running back, you have 3 options to pay up for. Out of those 3, I'm looking at the cheapest one in Alvin Kamara. This should be an absolute shootout here. The Rams and Saints both have high-powered offenses. Kamara doesn't have to deal with Ingram, although now he has to deal with Latavius Murray vulturing touchdowns, but he didn't have any touchdowns, was just 3 yards away from a rush from the 100-yard bonus. He got 7 catches. He's just going to be involved so heavily. The 3 Saint touchdowns came from guys you wouldn't really expect: Traquan Smith, Latavius Murray, and then the quarterback that gets a lot of plays. That got another touchdown there from Drew Brees. So I think Kamara is probably due for a touchdown this week. I mean, you can't expect on those guys to really get touchdowns every week. So Kamara, we all know he has the upside to get you multiple touchdowns on any given week. And with all the stuff that he does on the ground and through the air, he could have a huge week. At 8,200, he seems a little too cheap against the Rams, who just absolutely got destroyed by Christian McCaffrey week 1. And then Kamara is just as talented as McCaffrey, if not more talented. And then I always like to go with a little cheaper running back if I pay up for one. We have lots of cheap options this week. As a first look, we have guys like Chris Carson against the Steelers. He was involved in the pass as well as on the ground. We have Fournette against the Texans. I don't think he's going to be popular after he let a lot of people down week 1. Then you have guys like Michelle if you want to go there. I like Eckler a lot at 61. The guys I'm really looking at are right here. These 3, Eckler, I like Ingram, and I like Derrick Henry. If I had to rank those 3, I'd probably be Eckler first just because he's very involved in the passing game, which gives him a lot more upside than a guy like Mark Ingram, who, although he had 2 touchdowns, didn't get any targets through the air. And Derrick Henry, he's not going to catch many passes. He had 1 catch, which went for 75 yards and a touchdown. But that's why they have Dion Lewis there in passing situations. He usually comes off the field. So I think you're going to need Henry and Ingram to get into the end zone to make value or to really exceed value. And a guy like Eckler can still catch passes and get his points that way. So I'm leaning towards him. It's a good matchup against the Lions. They got beaten up in week one by David Johnson. He had a good game on the ground. Eckler does split some time with Justin Jackson, but he's still getting all the bulk. He's getting the bulk of the carries, and he's getting almost all the action in the passing game. We know Phillip Rivers likes to throw to running backs, and Eckler coming off a 3-touchdown performance, and he looked really good out there. It's not like his workload is going to be any lower, so I think going Eckler, Kamara, both guys have incredible upside on the ground and also through the air. Moving on to wide receiver, we have Hopkins, your most expensive, against the Jaguars. And then you have Thomas. I like Thomas if you're stacking the Saints. You could definitely do a Breeze, Thomas, Kamara stack. I like Sammy Watkins here, 7,200. I mean, just a lot to like there. Tyreek Hill is going to miss multiple games. Without Tyreek Hill, Watkins becomes the number one weapon for the Chiefs and for Patrick Mahomes. They don't really have any other guy that's going to get a bulk amount of volume. It's going to be Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce getting all the volume. We know Mahomes almost every week is going to have 300-plus yards passing and multiple touchdowns. Good chance it's going to come from those two guys through the air because, Tyreek Hill's hurt. Chris Conley's now on the Jaguars, who was their third wide receiver last year. They have Watkins, and they have guys like Robinson, just players that are very rarely going to have huge games. So I think Watkins is due for another big week. I'm not expecting 3 touchdowns and 50 fantasy points, but 25 to 30 fantasy points I think is very viable. If Tyreek Hill was healthy, no way I would pay that price tag, but he's not a wide receiver 2 anymore. He's a wide receiver 1 playing for the best quarterback on the slate and one of the best offenses on the slate too. So I got to like Watkins, and I don't think it's going to be that popular. I mean, so far I watched a couple videos. Nobody's really talking about him that much. I know that can definitely change, but I think he's going to be my favorite spend up this week just because I think it's in a great spot. And even if they do blow out the Raiders, I think it's going to be because Watkins has a big day through the air. And then other wide receivers you can look at, you got a lot of guys down here that are pretty cheap, like Cooper Kupp, Josh Gordon, although we're going to have to see how the volume works with Antonio Brown making his debut. But Gallup looks like he has in the midst of a breakout season after the new coordinator, and the new coordinator, Kellen Moore, likes to throw the ball. Prescott looks like, it's only been one game, but he looked really good out there. And then you can go to guys down here. I love John Brown. Just to take advantage of the Giants' struggles at defending the long passes, John Brown stack with Josh Allen, I think, has as much upside as it did week one. I think John Brown's going to have another big week. The Bills don't have many weapons in the offense with LaShawn McCoy gone. Through the air, it's going to be John Brown getting a lot of the work and a lot of the looks. He was Josh Allen's favorite target by far in week one as he got double-digit targets. The Giants are, like I've been saying, they're really bad through the air. They don't have a tight end that's a viable pass-catching option. The wide receivers are John Brown, then you got Beasley and Zay Jones, neither of which are really high-volume players. And then you got nobody really in the running back except Singletary. But it should be another good week for John Brown. The matchup is great. The Giants just gave up over 400 yards in the air against the Cowboys. And Josh Allen has a ton of upside. Both are pretty cheap at 53 and 5,200. I love that two-man stack. And then we'll talk about tight end a little bit, but then I want to give you guys my flex. At tight end, if you're paying up, I'm probably paying up for Kittle or Kelce. Kittle is another good spot. He had 2 touchdowns that got called back due to penalties, which sucked if you played Kittle, but at least it shows you that his upside is still there. We know the matchup is really good against the Bengals. They were good in week one, but I don't expect this team to be very good. That's mainly because they played the Seahawks, and the Seahawks don't like to pass the ball very much. But a Garoppolo, Kittle stack is fine, or just Kittle as your lone tight end is a good option. Kelce only had 3 catches, but he was targeted 8 times. More often than not, when you get 8 targets from Kelce, you're going to get like 6 catches, not 3 catches. And he was close to the 100-yard bonus. Without Tyreek Hill, he's going to get a lot of action too. So I like him as part of a stack. If I'm not paying up for those two, I'm paying down. Looking at guys like Delaney Walker at 3,500. If you don't want to play Walker, I'll probably go back to a Waller here at 3,300. And then probably a A guy that has incredible upside is TJ Hawkinson, who has looked like baby Gronk out there against the Cardinals. The matchup is a lot tougher against the Chargers, but I still like him a lot. 3,000 is really cheap for a guy that's going to get a lot of playing time. He was on the field most of the snaps in week 1, and Matthew Stafford loves to throw to him. He liked to throw to tight ends in his career when he had Eric Ebron there, but Ebron always struggled with drops when he was a Lion. But this guy, first overall pick, 8th overall, he has the ability to become one of the best tight ends in the league, and week 1 was a great performance, and I think he can build on that as the season continues. So those are the 3 tight ends or 4 tight ends I'm looking at. And then for my flex, go back to Tyrell Williams here. Just really, really cheap at 4,400. Very rare that you get a wide receiver 1 at 4,400. Just super cheap. He's going to get targeted 7 to 10 times just because the Raiders don't have many other options to throw to. This game, there's a good chance they're going to be trailing, They're probably going to have to be in a shootout with the Chiefs, and that's going to happen by throwing the ball, and Tyrell Williams should get more targets there. And if they throw the ball a lot, then it just makes it easier for him to make value. He's also a very good player. It's not like he's a scrub at 4,400. He's a good player, and now that he's going to be the number 1 option, I think he's going to have a very solid season and become Derek Carr's favorite target and most reliable target. So that's my week 1 look. This is on Tuesday I'm making this video, but hopefully you enjoyed. We'll look at defense a little bit too because I talked about every other position. Usually on defense I like to go cheap. But this week I'm not liking the Raiders. Can't go back to the Dolphins ever again. Don't want to really risk the Cardinals here. I think probably the cheapest defense that I would probably go to is maybe the Colts. But even that's not super appealing. I would probably pay up a little bit this week on defense and probably go with like the Broncos maybe against Trubisky. I like the 49ers. I mean, everybody's going to like the 49ers, but at 2,800 against the Bengals, that's a good option. And then you can pay up at defense a little bit. If you do like to pay up, you can pay up for like the Titans or even the Cowboys defense, the Bills defense. And I think that probably the top defense is going to be the Patriots and the Bears. But that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And you can check out the website, dfsprocess.net, if you want to join us. And good luck today.